This video is brought to you by Patreon. Patreon, with little bits of pollen to improve your allergies. Nick Jr. had really settled into its groove by 1990. Nickelodeon's preschooler programming block basically bounced between two different modes. First was your live-action, puppet-heavy sing-song shows. Today's Special, Sharon Lois and Bram's Elephant Show, Fred Penner's Place, and Nickelodeon original Eureka's Castle. These shows harkened back to the channel's roots with Pinwheel, which would finally leave Nickelodeon that year after 6 straight years of reruns. Nick Jr.'s second mode was anime! Before Toonami, before 4Kids, before Saturday Anime, the #1 spot for Japanese animation on American television was Nick Jr., of all places. Going into 1990, the channel still had The Adventures of Little Koala and Noozles, and had just rotated out Belle and Sebastian, Mapletown, and The Adventures of the Little Prince at the end of the previous year. The only animated Nick Jr. show that wasn't Japanese at this time was The World of David the Gnome, and it would stay that way for a while yet. And on January 1st, 1990, New Year's Day itself, Nick Jr. premiered the newest addition to its anime collection. I hope you like bugs, because this is Maya the Bee.
Look out! There's a bee on Nick Jr. Don't worry, she's not the kind who stings.
I'm Maya and I just want to play.
She's the kind who swings. The kind who sings.
Catch me if you dare.
The kind who lends a helping wing. She's the most beautiful bee you'll ever see.
Me, Pop?
Be on the lookout for Maya the Bee, dropping in weekdays on Nick Jr.
Maya is a newly born little bee girl, and right away, she doesn't quite fit in with her family of thousands. She's curious, playful, getting into all sorts of messes trying to figure out how the world works, much to the chagrin of her caretakers. They try to explain what the world is like in school, but Maya finds the explanation unsatisfying, and perhaps a little too one-sided. If she's going to learn what the world is really like, she'll need to see it for herself. She'll need to escape the hive. So, when out on her first nectar-gathering mission, Maya slips away from the group and starts exploring the world for herself. She's joined in her journey by Willie, a bee who isn't terribly bright and a little bit lazy. In short, another misfit to bee society.
Would you like to go on a picnic?
Maybe. As the old saying goes, let me see, how does it go?
Maya is quick to introduce herself, quick to make friends, and one of the first she makes is Flip, a worldly grasshopper who is more than willing to explain things to Maya. That is, when she can get him up from a nap.
Flip to the rescue! It's getting pretty bad when a guy named Flip can't do a flip.
A typical episode of the show will see Maya meeting a species of bug for the first time, making friends with them, and learning what makes them different. How earthworms dig through the ground, how caterpillars become butterflies, how ants organize themselves. Oh, we're doing that character design here, huh? Maya will make friends, and then help these little guys out of whatever jam they find themselves in, often at the protest of both Willie and Flip.
Will you pay attention? The caterpillar's in trouble.
That's true, Maya.
Huh?
But it's time you learned that in the forest, all of us have to take care of ourselves.
But she can't take care of herself. She can't swim.
And we can't pull her out. Only the ant is strong enough, and he can't reach her from the mushroom.
Ow! I'm coming! Don't give up! Let go of me! I have an idea, Flip! Let go! Ow!
Because Maya isn't just an out-of-the-box thinker for bee society, she rejects the rules of Mother Nature itself. Who says you can't make friends with a frog, an animal that famously wants to eat you? Who says you can't pal around with humans? Who says insects of all stripes can't form a supportive community and help each other out when things go bad? So this show's got some lineage to it. a late 1980s English localization of a 1970s Japanese anime adapting a German book from the 1910s. That's a lot of geopolitics to unpack, and oh boy, we're going to unpack them. Maya the Bee, or Die Biene Maya, was written by Waldemar Bonsels and published in 1912. The book and its anime adaptation have largely the same beats. Maya is a curious newborn bee who decides to break away from the hive and explore the world, and each chapter of the book sees her meeting a new bug and getting to know them. The show usually has to add a conflict to these moments, as in the book these little stories are just conversations between Maya and her new acquaintance. Also, the show has a lot more of them. The book only has 17 chapters, while the anime has 104 episodes over 2 seasons. The book also doesn't have Willy or Flip in it. This is entirely Maya's solo adventure, and with a few exceptions, the book is largely naturalistic. Most printings opt for realistic insect illustrations instead of any kind of cartoony bug characters, and the story doesn't shy away from the violent nature of predator and prey. Some of these bugs get properly wrecked. In one early chapter, Maya is talking with a little beetle guy, and then a dragonfly swoops in from nowhere and bites the beetle's head off. Maya is put off for a moment, but then just starts up a conversation with the dragonfly. There's another scene where Maya gets caught in a spider's web and is struggling to get out. A butterfly floats by, and you realize that living in this kind of world means accepting that your life is very short. "Oh, you poor soul," the butterfly cried, hearing Maya's screams and seeing her desperate plight. "May your death be an easy one, lovely child. I cannot help you. Some day, perhaps this very night, I shall meet with the same fate. But meanwhile, life is still lovely for me. Goodbye. Don't forget the sunshine and the deep sleep of death." I wonder if the Maya the Bee book ever ends up in the German versions of those childhood media that scare the crap out of you listicles. Now, the anime isn't nearly this fatalistic, but it's also not completely toothless. We don't see characters getting their heads bitten off, but despite its more silly animal cartoon nature, there are moments of real danger. One episode sees Flip caught in a Venus flytrap, and while Maya flies off to get help, Willy goes, "So, Flip, you're about to die, huh?"
Flip, listen. Open your eyes and tell me if you see anything passing by.
No.
Oh, that's a relief. They say you can see your life pass before your eyes just before you die, but you can't, so I guess for now you're okay.
Hey, if this is how you're planning to keep my spirits up, don't bother.
Okay, sorry.
English dubs around this time would usually try to scrub away disagreeable topics like death. Look, I can see their parachutes. They're gonna be okay. But the topic is unavoidable here, even in the nicer, less violent Japanese adaptation. Another story sees Willy knocked unconscious, and a bunch of ants taking him away thinking he's dead. Hey, we ants don't kill, but if it's already dead, then it's lunch. The one thing the anime does mostly drop from the original book, however, is its themes of nationalist pride and xenophobic rhetoric. Look, I teased it in the last episode's preview. Let's just dive into it. Waldemar Bonsels was a huge anti-Semite and a vocal supporter of the Nazi Party, writing articles for German newspapers about the supposed threats of Jews to German society, calling them anti-intellectual, a poison. This lack of respect is in all intellect and in all sentimentality of the Jewish nature, the consuming poison to the impartiality of the German spirit. Now, the publication of Maya the Bee predates the official formation of the Nazi Party by about 8 years, but you don't need Nazis to be racist and nationalistic, and the book has a lot of, questionable ideas. The first rule that a young bee must learn is that every bee, in whatever it thinks and does, must be like the other bees and must always have the good of all in mind. In our order of society, which we have held to be the right one from time immemorial, and which couldn't have been better preserved than it has been, this rule is the one fundamental basis for the well-being of the state. These are the lessons Maya is taught shortly after birth, and initially seems like something the book is presenting to push back against. But no. At the end, Maya returns to the hive, and even after all she learned about the outside world, she finds herself fully accepting the nature of the state. Essentially, her act of rebellion is shown as a folly of youth, something many young girls go through, and That's okay to a degree, and you do learn things that way, but so long as you return as a well-adjusted citizen. Oh, thought Maya, how happy it made you to be able to count yourself one in a community like that, to feel that everybody respected you, and you had the powerful protection of the state. The book brings up the power of the state as a positive thing a lot, and the power of that state is enforced through violence. Bees are respected in the world of bugs because bees have stingers. They have a capacity of violence that even spiders think twice about. The stingers are effectively metaphors for advanced military arms. Of course, bees aren't the only bugs with stingers, and so there is an underlying conflict with wasps and hornets, who are described with the language of both evil invaders and dirty immigrants. The hornets are our most formidable enemy, and the wickedest, and the wasps are a useless tribe of thieves without home or religion. We are a stronger, more powerful nation, while they steal and murder wherever they can. The stuff about the wasps specifically reads a lot like the rhetoric used against the Romani, who also faced genocide from the Nazi Party. I think it's worth noting that, at the height of the Nazi power, when they were controlling the media one was allowed to consume, that Maya the Bee was not only not banned, but saw a wartime print run of 650,000 copies. It was seen as agreeable fiction by some very evil people. The anime, of course, doesn't remotely go in this direction. While a lot of the plot beats are the same, it isn't concerned with the glory of the state and the dirtiness of certain species of bugs. Maya tries to see the value in everyone, and brings many different species, or races, together as a community. While wasps and hornets do show up as antagonists, we do also get scenes that show them as compassionate and relatable, something the book wholly rejects.
Mama's home, sweetheart.
Maya the Bee was translated into 27 languages, and in 1924 a silent film adaptation was made using footage of actual insects humanized by title cards. And in 1975, Zuio Enterprises developed their own animated adaptation. We've touched on the Eurocentric animes of the 1970s, when Japanese animation studios found profit in adapting classic European literature, and Zuio Enterprises was all about that, producing shows such as Moomin, Heidi Girl of the Alps, and A Dog of Flanders. However, the company only lasted through the production of the first 6 episodes. Having taken on a lot of debt from previous projects, the company split into 2, with Zuio as the distributor and a newly formed Nippon Animation taking over the production side of things. You may remember Nippon as the ones behind Noozles, and we'll be seeing them again with Grimm's Fairy Tale Classics. Believe it or not, Maya the Bee was not the first cute bee anime. 1970's The Adventures of Hutch the Honeybee also tells the story of a cute bee child separated from his hive and trying to make it in a world of wild bugs. An original story by Tatsunaka Productions, Hutch the Honeybee was successful, getting a second series in 1974, and while I haven't found anything saying as such, I would not be surprised if someone went, "Hey, you know, there's this older book about a cute bee child that's separated from her hive and tries to make it in a world of bugs. They can't call us a ripoff because the book came first. Let's just, be sure to scrub out all the awful German nationalism." The Adventures of Maya the Bee, or Mitsubashi Maya no Boken, aired its first 52-episode season on NET between April 1st, 1975 and April 20th, 1976. While exact metrics aren't available to me, it did seem to do pretty well, with a significant amount of merchandise locally and a universal premise that would allow for easy international distribution, with dubs in French, Spanish, Italian, Dutch, Arabic, Polish, and of course, German, where it would receive a great deal of marketing and merchandise. The character was a hometown hero, after all. Presumably, it was so successful that Austrian-based Apollo Film approached Nippon and went, "Hey, could you make us some more?" The New Adventures of Maya the Bee, effectively the show's second season, premiered first in Germany on September of 1979. Set after the events of the book, but still vague and episodic enough that you could mix it into reruns of the first season without much issue, a new main character would be introduced to the Maya-Willy flip dynamic, Alexander, a brainy mouse child.
I was visiting Cousin Quincy last spring at the house he lives in.
Oh, your cousin Quincy lives with humans?
Oh, yes, and his humans have children, and one of them chased us one day, you see.
Oh, did you run?
Oh, yes, I ran. I ran and got my toy sword.
I suppose Alexander has something of a Cousin Oliver effect on the show. This second season wouldn't air in Japan until 3 years later, in 1982. Supposedly, it wasn't nearly as well received. The premise just doesn't develop much in the second season, and it doesn't quite have the beauty of, say, that one episode where Maya meets a flower spirit. You know, that episode I covered on Knacks Sample Platter. And I was actually surprised to learn that this was in the original book. The show would finally receive an English dub in 1980, but not the one you're familiar with on Nickelodeon. Produced by an audio post-production company called Sonovision Studios, this dub was made for the South African Broadcasting Corporation. Interestingly, this is not a straight localization of the original Japanese, but a translation of either the French or Spanish dubs.
マヤ、さっきまで一緒だったジミーがいないってことわかったもん。そういえばそうね。ジミーどこへはぐれちゃったのかしら。またのんきなこと言って。この真っ暗闇の穴の中探そうったって探しようがないよ。
By the way, Maya, have you noticed that Jimmy isn't with us anymore, eh?
Oh, where could he be? Do you think he sneaked away? Or maybe he's just having a rest?
Oh, your curiosity is really terrible. Why did I come with you? I'll never allow myself to be dragged into something with you ever again, do you hear? I don't know, and there's something else I don't know either. Where's Jimmy?
That's right, Jimmy didn't follow us in here. Where is he?
Who knows? But without him, we're through. Our only hope was to get his light going again. Now we're really in the dark.
The original South African dub, along with many other Zuyo shows, did get some distribution in the United States in the early 1980s through a company called Beta Film GmbH. And I found a few sporadic TV listings on local networks in 1982, but this airing of Maya the Bee didn't leave much of an impact here on the States. And this would not be the dub used by Nickelodeon. I can't speak to why, if they thought the British colonizer voices weren't the right fit for the channel, or if there were some right issues, or if somebody found a tax cheat where making a fresh dub from scratch would be cheaper. Whatever the case, in 1989, Nickelodeon turned to a familiar friend, Saban Productions. The 1989 to 1990 season would be a big one for Saban, localizing 7 different shows for the English market, including Maya the Bee and Grimm's Fairy Tale Classics for Nickelodeon, Wowzer for the Family Channel, and Tom Sawyer for HBO. On top of that, Saban Entertainment was still the main overseas distributor for Deke shows, and around this time they were exporting programs like Camp Candy, the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, and Captain N the Game Master. Maya was voiced by Pauline Little, who you might know as Francine in Samurai Pizza Cats and the grandmother in Caillou.
Well, I hope this will teach you it's not size that counts, it's your fighting spirit. Here's your order, you beautiful person, you. We serve pizza any style, guaranteed to make you smile. What can we do for you? Guido, darling, if you're not too busy, could you make a delivery? Polly, have I told you how much I admire you? And I love your hair.
Will was voiced by Richard Dumont, who voiced Batcat on Samurai Pizza Cats, and who old-school Nickelodeon fans will probably recognize as the recurring character Sardo on Are You Afraid of the Dark?
No, Maya! Oh, this is just another trick to get you to go closer.
Yeah, because I'll take the high road and drop off a small surprise I brought along.
Playtime's over. Bye now or bye now.
And Flip was voiced by A.J. Henderson, who voiced Ed Crosswire on Arthur and, yes, also did a voice on Samurai Pizza Cats, playing Big Al Dente.
Okay, none of you have to take me seriously now. You'll see what I mean before long.
He's very sick. We have to help him, sir.
For whatever reason, Saban only produced English dubs for 65 of the show's 104 episodes, of which only 50 complete or mostly complete episodes have been dug up in tape trading and preservation circles, plus 3 official VHS releases. Saban would lose the rights to the dub in 1999, and the Saban dub has never had any official DVD or streaming releases. In 2008, the rights to the property were bought by the German-owned French-operated animation company Studio 100, and a new CGI Maya the Bee show premiered on February 1st, 2012. This wasn't just a fresh adaptation of the original, now public domain book, but used the designs and the original characters from the Nippon animation show. This series would run for 130 episodes, would spin off 3 feature films, and be heavily merchandised. The franchise is still going strong, 110 years later. Maya the Bee would have a solid 3-year run on Nick Jr., from January 1st, 1990 to December 31st, 1992. It was a solid fit for the programming block, sweet and pleasant, like a lot of Nick Jr.'s animated offerings. And the exploring the natural world of insects and spiders made it a little teensy bit educational without being overtly so. It played well against the world of David the Gnome, offering a similar scale of adventure, but with a female protagonist and no cry your eyes out ending. And yeah, by this point, pretty much all of the yucky xenophobia from the original book had been scrubbed clean through adaptation telephone. But that doesn't stop Maya the Bee from feeling clumsy in the way it transposes human moral lessons into the infrastructure of the natural world. How do you apply everyone is worth respect and empathy to a food chain where a lot of these anthropomorphized bugs have to eat a lot of these other anthropomorphized bugs to survive? It wants to have its cake and eat it too. It wants to have stories with praying mantises and spiders and frogs trying to kill and eat our protagonists, and still end the day with lessons about how you shouldn't judge people. As such, I find it a fine animated show, but it's less cohesive as other Little Being adventure programs like David the Gnome before it, or the Little Bits after it. It's still a pleasant time, and if you'd like to watch it, at the time of this writing you can find all of the discovered Saban episodes and all of the South African dub on the Internet Archive, as well as the original Japanese version here on YouTube. And it is worth a look. A property passed from country to country, culture to culture, working hard to always be better than what came before. Just like Maya herself.
Nick, 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 Nickelodeon. Nick, 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 Nickelodeon.
Next time, Nickelodeon goes outside to play. I hope you love Dizzy Baseball, because we're going to be watching a lot of it. Today's research shout out goes to the PinkieLopBun's episode archive, where you can find the entire Japanese series of Maya the Bee. I know they're a longtime viewer to this channel, so hello Pinkie! Link in the description below. Thank you all for watching. If you'd like to support Knacks and other Pop Arena projects, consider contributing to my Patreon. Every dollar goes to production values, research materials, and Tums. Remember, if we get the Patreon up to $1,000 a video, we'll start covering Nick at Night shows. You can also support the channel by liking the video, leaving a comment, subscribing, hitting that bell icon for notifications, following me at the various social medias listed in the description, sending a one-time donation through PayPal or Coffee, and sharing knickknacks with all your friends. I'll see you next time, and remember, Black Lives Matter.